All right, let's do it from the Tap-In Tavern on Super Talk 1270 and Facebook Live. This is the Bismarck Bobcats Coaches Show for the second week of the preseason. The Bobcats have a scrimmage game going on Tuesday afternoon at the Wachter Ice Arena against the Aberdeen Wings before the war in Watford City on Friday and Saturday, the 9th and 10th. Layne Sedevie with us, Bobcat head coach. How are you keeping cool on this 95-degree day?
Yeah, I mean, it's. I guess you enjoy it while you can. I mean, it's. I feel like we don't get this heat as long as we are this year. I mean, I think it's supposed to be 98 tomorrow, so it's supposed to be nice for the weekend too, which is pretty rare. Feels like so. I don't know. We'll enjoy it until hopefully we don't get snow before Halloween. Because it's happened before.
How was your run?
It was good. Yeah, it was. It was early. It was long, and just another 16-mile day.
Another 16-mile day, that's it?
Yep, just 16.
So how do you adjust then? Do you just drink twice the amount of water?
I got a routine. I mean, it's a lot of, I would say, more water the day before and hydration through the run. But, I mean, when you get up to those miles, I mean, it's one of those things where you start to learn a lot about your body and what you need. And the biggest thing is making sure that you're hydrated, because you can crash pretty quick when it's warm. And, the weird part is we've had, kind of crazy humidity, and that's the one thing that really drains you. So I think our run was 81% humidity this morning. So, Laz started to crystallize on his skin a little bit, but he did great this week. So, that's the thing. I mean, crazy part is he's never run a half marathon, and you don't get medals and you don't get all this sort of stuff, but he's going to run 8 half marathons before he runs his full marathon. So that's, I guess, how crazy a marathon program really is.
So do you not run the full 26 before the actual marathon?
We'll run up to 21 miles on a given day. That'll be our longest long run. So really, when you look at the marathon, your last 5 miles or 6 miles is pretty much, you can call it all mental and all grit, because it's hard to prepare for. You don't want to break your body down so much to where you're not capable to toe the start line. So we're working into it. We got 18. We have an 18-mile next week, and then for the showcase, I planned it so we only have a 12. So it's kind of a drop back week. So it won't be. We have a lot of stuff going on that has to be done, and we can't take away from that.
Well, last week the Bobcats got on the ice on Wednesday. We were talking after the first hour or so on the ice. You've had a week since then to glean whatever you can. What can you take away from this first week of practice?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just one of those things where I think, when I look at it, I'm just glad we got in a week early. This week has been better. Guys look more in shape. I think we're, maybe wearing down a little bit. So I think we're probably gonna, work some special teams the next couple days. Get into trying to get in all situations. I mean, it's one of those things where you just want to feel as prepared as you can possibly be. So we'll get some close to game-like reps on Tuesday next week, and make sure we're just prepared here for that, and then moving forward. If the nice part is we can evaluate that and make some changes and teaching points on Wednesday and Thursday before we go to Watford City. So and the kicker is too, it's I guess the human nature part of this job is making cuts too. So there's a lot of guys that are fighting for spots and doing everything they can, and we have some decisions that need to be made. So that's kind of how this week has gone, and we'll go into next week as well.
Is that always the hardest part of your job?
Yeah, it's the worst part. I mean, we have kids, and I kind of brought the captains in and just said, hey, like, when I feel comfortable to make cuts and wanted to get their opinion, because we do have 33 guys in camp, and there's a lot of guys on the ice, and it's hard to have flow. It's hard to have guys get I would say a regular shift when you're doing 5-on-5, all that sort of stuff. You just but again, yeah, we have kids from all over the world, all over the U.S. that come here, and it's just really hard. They give you everything they got, and sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Do you feel like the Europeans, who when we last talked a week ago were still adjusting to the jet lag and the time zone difference, being on the ice the first day, can finally get a fair shake in terms of how you evaluate them after a week?
Yeah, I mean, I think they were probably I don't even know, to be honest with you, how the first couple days they were on the ice, and sometimes I wonder if they shouldn't just maybe not partake. I mean, almost every one of our Europeans had 26 hours of travel, and I know Patty's living with or Lennard's is living with Patty, and he'd wake up in the middle of the night, and Lennard's is sitting there playing Xbox at 4 a.m, and he's like, it's afternoon back home. I can't sleep. So I think it's nice that we got in a little bit early, so that I mean, really just getting acclimated is a huge part of different lifestyle, different food, different everything. So I can't. It's hard to put yourself in their shoes, and that's where I really lean on our leadership to make sure we have a good locker room to really welcome those guys, because it's they can speak English, but it's not great English, and you want them to feel welcome, and you want them to be able to be themselves and really adjust to the culture and the North American League and the style of North American hockey.
Was that ever something you dealt with during your career?
As far as what?
As far as moving so far away, adjusting to yourself,
well,
your place.
I mean, I can tell you when I left my senior year, it was probably the hardest thing I ever did. It was just used to a high school, you don't have your friends. Really, teams can be cliquey, and you kind of you try and at least as a coach now, when the shoe's on the other foot. I really don't like that, and I try and emphasize it to our captains that I don't want 4 guys hanging out here and 4 guys hanging out here and a guy that's sitting at home not included. It's pretty easy to send a text message and invite everybody when you're doing a movie night or shake night or whatever it is. So I mean, I think it's extremely tough. I mean, we have 2 high school kids. I know one only moved from Jamestown, but the other one moved from Lakeville, and there's different facets to every player, and every kid handles that transition differently. So I think that's stuff that we have to work on with every player differently, and just make sure that billets are a good fit, and really everything when you break down how hard the season can be. You need all that stuff to be in line.
Is that part of your decision to choose Patty and Nico as your 2 captains?
Well, I think Patty's, kind of a just to me a little bit of a no-brainer. I think he's a team-first guy. It's the reason why he wore a C last year. He works every day, and I thought Nico was a really good assistant last year, so he kind of gets grandfathered in per se to that other C, and I haven't really made my mind up on A's. I feel like I have a good feeling. I don't know. I'm not in a hurry to, I guess, name A's, knowing that both our captains are or the guys that both wore letters, one being a C and one being an A, will both be C's right now, and I feel comfortable that way.
What's your philosophy on 1 captain versus 2?
I've went back and forth, and I've seen a lot of different things done at high levels, and road assistants, home assistants, and to me it's one of those things where you have guys emerge, and that's maybe the tough part about naming captains early, and maybe it's not a veteran group and that sort of stuff, but you feel like guys earn that letter throughout the course of the year, and sometimes I've just flat out given another letter. It's just it's one of those things where maybe they can fool you for a month, but when it's the duration of 5-6 months, and they're great in the locker room, they show up every day, they're here for all the right reasons, and that they're a leader. I just think it's a feather in their cap to really get that put on their jersey.
Have you ever began a year with no captains?
No, I don't think we have. I think we've always had, the nice part is you don't get classes like you do in college, but you do typically have, returners. And the reason I think probably, there's been some new guys that have wore letters and have been fantastic at being a leader. And some of them stick out like sore thumbs. But usually, if you go to a guy that is a veteran, they know what I want. They know what we're about. And usually you can name your captain and then maybe work into your, your A's and that sort of stuff.
Scrimmages coming up for you, Layne. Essentially, 4 hockey games, inter-squad scrimmage amongst you guys later on. Then the Tuesday scrimmage against Aberdeen down at Wachter Ice Arena. Then Friday, Saturday, the 9th and 10th of September in Watford City against Minot, both games. So essentially 4 hockey games, none of which, of course, count for points, for you to evaluate your team. What do you look for in those 4 games? Is it different from games 1 through 4?
I mean, yeah, it is, just for the fact that, kids are trying to play their way on our hockey team, and that's the big part. I mean, it's when you have a decent group of veterans back, they obviously have a longer leash and all that sort of stuff. So for me, it's really, the inter-squad scrimmage and really Aberdeen is probably when we'll start making cuts. So, that's what, Hunter and I are going to be breaking down and who really kind of solidifies them in that initial 25-man roster. And if we need to make changes to that, because that's got to be in tonight. So, and there always are guys, and there's a couple guys that aren't on our initial list that for sure, are going to go to the showcase, and we'll see, what happens with them, and if they play their way onto that roster. I mean, that's kind of how, junior hockey's it's tough. I mean, it's you hate to say it, but it's every man for themselves, and you have to have that mentality if you want to play at a high level.
Couple guys who are 18 years old joining our show today later on. Evan Hunter, a forward, Landon Fleming, a defenseman, both with a full year USHL experience at age 17, coming to you guys at age 18. What's it like having someone with that much junior hockey experience at Tier 1 coming to your group for a full year this year?
Well, it's definitely nice. I mean, it's one of the things where we went after Evan in the draft, and it's we felt like we wanted to add a couple other veteran guys along with our guys, and to me, they're both still 04s, but they played at a high level. They played, to me, it's when you have that experience. Usually, the transition is, I don't want to say it's seamless, but it's definitely a lot quicker than a guy coming from AAA or high school when you don't know how long it's going to take them. So that's the reason why we obviously went after Evan, and Landon, to me, really shores up our back end. We have a great returning group of defensemen. He comes in with almost 50 games played or something like that in the USHL, and I think he brings a lot of that experience to an already experienced group. So to me, it's a win-win situation.
You've gone from 0 Wisconsin guys to 3 in the span of like 4 months.
Well, we have one for the last 5 years in Nico. So
I guess we'll count him.
He's and that's just it. I mean, I think that's where I just don't think you can leave a rock unturned. I mean, you got to find players from all over, and I think Ian Ingles is going to be a fantastic defenseman for us too. Joined us last year, and really a couple good tenders there in Landon Fleming and Ian Ingles. So, hey, at the end of the day, Corey, we got to find kids, and to me, it doesn't matter where they come from.
Can getting people to go all the way out to Bismarck, even if they're Midwestern guys, be a hard sell?
I think it's an extremely hard sell, and that's just let's just face it. I'm sorry, but Bismarck is not a destination city. Now, what I will say is that I don't think I've ever had a player come here, and this is what Byron Poole and I talk about all the time. And we struggled with it in 09-10. with a couple guys that we traded for from the USHL, and Byron's message was just come see it. And to me, it's so true. And I can sit here and tell you that Bismarck's are great, but I'm from here, so it's to me, having a former player call, one of these guys that you're possibly going to talk to next or something like that, I think that speaks volume of what Bismarck's like, what our program's like, and honestly, even I think guys they're skeptical. They don't really know where it is. They know it's kind of in the middle of nowhere, but once they get out here, they absolutely love it. And I think that's just it's a kind of a hidden gem, and I think probably it's a benefit for us. I feel like once they get here, we just got to get them here, and then I think they fall in love with the city.
Can that be harder for guys on either coast compared to Wisconsin, Minnesota?
I think we probably have a better chance being centrally located with those guys. I mean, I think it's I go back to just certain guys, Caston Sommer, Joe Giordano, guys that ended up being exceptional players for us, but we tried so hard to get Joe Giordano here, and I mean, he's coaching out east still, D3 college, and literally he's at the showcase. He's one of the first guys that comes up and says, how much he misses Bismarck and how awesome it was, and Caston's no different. Just they're obviously they ended up being class acts, which doesn't take away from what we're trying to say here, but I think it is a hard sell. I mean, it's let's face it, it's a long ways away. I mean, it's one of those things where I think the league has really done a fantastic job. I think our commitments are a huge selling point. But again, we obviously, I always say, until you see the whites of their eyes, you just never know.
Not many teams can say all 5 of their 0-1s went D1 last year. Bobcats can say that.
Yeah, I mean that's the best part. I mean, yeah, the Game 59 and Game 60 I'll never forget. It's the best memory I have being a Bobcat fan or being able to stand on that bench, but that's the best part. I mean, wins and losses, they matter when you're a coach, but being able to get all the – it's one of those things where you look them in the eyes, they're struggling. Take Ruddy, for example, and you bring them in and have a one-on-one meeting and just say, Ruddy, you got to trust me. And to be able to deliver and find those guys homes. And again, Corey, let's be honest. I mean, they all did a fantastic job. You still have to go out and produce. But to me, that's where our league has done a fantastic – it's a great league. And colleges are all over it. And I think it's only going to continue to grow that way. It has from, my start when I was here. And I just don't see it changing. But to have all the 05, I mean, that's the best part of last year.
Every time I step in here to the Tap-In Tavern, I just think back to Game 59 when, while on the bus, you're hearing from guys like Toph saying, I want to watch the game, how do we do it? Put the game on TV, and they follow you guys for the entire playoff run. I'm sure they'll have some games on here again. I wouldn't have thought that the Tap-In Tavern's been a long-time sponsor, but they would embrace the Bobcats the way they did, and they weren't the only people last year.
No, I think that was the cool part. I mean, just how much the city really – the old cliche, rallied around what the guys on the ice were doing. And I guess you don't want to put yourself in that situation, but we were in that situation. We didn't have a choice. We really had one of the worst starts that, I've ever been a part of. And it presented the situation that it did. And, I don't think it was, flawless. But at the end of the day, the scenarios that played out and to go 5-0 and clinch against one of our biggest rivalries is a perfect storm. No pun intended.
I think it was a pretty good pun.
It was. It was really good, actually. About 40 inches of snow.
Game being postponed to Monday night. All the eyes were on that Game 60 in Minot. So my first foray into Bobcat hockey was the war in Watford City last year between the Bobcats and Toros. I wouldn't have thought coming here that such a rivalry could exist in the regular season for one, but for two in the preseason. There were multiple, unfortunately, minor injuries sustained that kept guys out just from that preseason series in Dickinson and Watford City last year. Is there a message to the guys going into this one?
Don't get hurt.
That's a pretty good one.
You know, and the tough part is we had big injuries. You know, I mean, we didn't have a veteran group. You know, if you lose a guy this year, I would hope that our depth can hold off until you know, we get those guys back. But to lose John Ziske, it wasn't a dirty play. It wasn't a bad hit. It was a slash. I mean, it's one of those things where I've really, you know, it's a coach is based off wins and losses, and I always used to get so worked up when, you know, you're doing your job, you get a text message, hey, I'm going in, I can't walk on my ankle, I can't do this, and Corey, you can't change that, and you know, that's one of those things where we were dealt tough cards. I don't get overly excited about it anymore. I'm not going to force an issue on a player. I think times have changed. Concussions are extremely serious now, and at the end of the day, you do the best job with the personnel that you can field in that lineup. And I think last year we really got stung because we didn't have that depth of returners, and we had so many players that have never played at this level.
Let's end on this. A much easier sell than maybe getting people to come to Bismarck, although it's been obviously fantastic. Jersey design contest for the Bismarck Bobcats. Our New Year's Eve jersey when the Bobcats host Minot, December 31st. It's going to be a sellout. We can tell you that right now. And the Bobcats will be wearing a jersey that one of you watching, listening here at home will design. Brad Feldman putting this on, our sales and marketing director. Email him or drop off a jersey design of your choosing, whether it's on a computer or by hand. You can draw it in pencil for all we care. Drop it off by September 20th, and following a fan vote of finalists, the winning jersey will be worn December 31st. When's Letty's design going to come in?
You know what? The crazy part is that's what I was going to say. My daughter's going to design a wicked jersey.
She might win for all we know.
For a 5-year-old, I mean, she colors in the lines, put it that way. So, I mean, she's really excelling in coloring right now, so and drawing. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a neat deal. I mean, I think it's kind of cool to have that tie to a fan in the community that supports us. And I mean, when it comes full circle, hopefully they'll be at the game and be able to see the finished product on our guys wearing it.
Yeah, the winner gets a free jersey that they design, of course, and the Bobcat jerseys will be auctioned off at the game. Have you told Letty about this? Does she know?
Nope. It just came out yesterday.
Yeah. You would think Letty would have something in by now if she's a good colorer.
No, she's gotta think about it for a while. I mean, it's probably going to be, well, there's a few. Anna, Elsa, either Gabby, Jojo Siwa. So maybe her jersey detail might be maybe not the right fit for the Bobcats, but I'm sure if I told her, she would be all about it. That's for sure.
You're saying we can't do a Frozen night with the Bobcats?
I mean, my wife wants to do a Yellowstone night. Dress up as your favorite Yellowstone character, and I just don't know if Frozen would work. I mean, it's although you probably would have a lot of little guys and girls running around in some pretty cool costumes, but yeah, I don't know. I've seen this done quite, for a few different teams, and honestly, there's been a couple that and I know they're not listening, but I think they're better than. Or they were better than their home or away jerseys that they played with all year long. So, I think it's really a cool deal to have the fans be involved in something that the guys are going to wear.
Yeah, there was a team in the USHL that just 2 years ago got a permanent third jersey because
it's
of
awesome.
It. Incredible.
It was great. I mean, when I seen it come through, I was like, all right, yep, that one will work.
All right, design your Bobcat jerseys. Get them into Brad Feldman or the Bobcat office by September 20th at 9 p.m. Finalist fan voting through the 26th, and then the winner will have their jersey come to life on New Year's Eve. All right, Layne, thanks so much.
Thanks, Corey.
All right, Hunter Laslo coming up in a moment. This is the Bobcat Coaches Show on Super Talk 1270. All right, we're back on the Bobcat Coaches Show on Super Talk 1270 and Facebook Live. Hunter Laslo joining us, Bobcat assistant coach. How's your week been going?
Not too bad. Can't complain. Yeah, it's been a good week so far.
Practice going all right through, I guess, 7 full days at this point.
Yeah, I think overall pretty impressed with the group so far. Started to get into a little bit of teaching. Last week was a lot of flow. Just trying to get our legs under us, shake off some rust, get in shape. A hard work of just a lot of hard practices, trying to make sure we're ready for obviously next Tuesday, and then heading into Watford against Minot. So trying to make sure we're in shape and been good the last couple days here in the beginning of the week, starting to put in some systems and teach a little bit. So so far that's been going well.
You've got an extra week compared to last year to get the guys into it, more preseason scrimmage time with essentially 4 games, 2 of them in Minot, 1 with Aberdeen, 1 inter-squad. How much more do you ease the guys into it this year compared to last?
I wouldn't say easing into it is the right term. I just think it allows us a little more time to get our feet under us. Last year when we came in a week later, it just happens so much quicker. You have so much less time. This just allows us to be a little more detailed. And I guess maybe I'll take back my comment. Yeah, I guess we can slow it down a little bit. But at the same time, we're really trying to hammer all our systems into these guys, make sure everyone knows it. It may give us a little extra time to repeat some stuff and slow it down, do it at half speed before we bring it into a full speed drill or demonstration or anything like that. So I think it's a huge benefit to come into a week early. It gives guys to build chemistry, allows us to start to put special teams pairs together, see who's got chemistry, who's working together, who doesn't, and obviously who's going to end up being on the roster when it comes showcase times.
Do you expect guys to be really good in game shape right away?
I mean, yeah, we don't want to come in to training camp and look like you've been sitting on your couch all summer, eating hot dogs and cheeseburgers and getting a tan all summer. Off-season's very important to stay in shape. I think everyone comes in a little bit out of shape. I think it's hard to replicate hard-paced practices and competition in the summertime, obviously depending on what each guy does for their off-season training and skating. I know a lot of guys do various different skating groups and summer leagues and stuff like that. But it's always different when you show up and you got competition, and obviously you're trying to make the team and earn a roster spot. So I think it just brings a little bit of a different edge and different side to things. But yeah, it's that first week it gave us a good chance to really move our feet, some longer skates, and get in the gym with our testing and really see who's going to crack it.
Say this, that Sanford power testing, Sanford scores produced across the board higher levels individually and just aggregate compared to last year. Eddie Shepler and Nico Chmielewski, the 2 top scorers. Does that give you reason to be more excited about the way the guys are at after a long off season?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think necessarily everything in the gym always translates to on-ice performance. Definitely helps for sure, and I'm not downplaying anything. I think our guys over at Sanford and Riv and the rest of the trainers do an awesome job keeping our guys healthy and keeping them strong and getting them in game shape. But again, it's also cool to see, especially for a returning group, the improvement they made from last year. Eddie and Nico being 2 of those guys made a huge jump, and obviously that shows in the amount of work they put in this offseason in the gym and on the ice. So it's pretty cool to see, and it's cool for those guys too. Get the T-shirt, you go in the system with I think Riv told me it was like 20,000 athletes that go into that system that compare against each other. So it's a cool side for the players. It's obviously good for Layne and I to be able to see, where each guy's at in terms of body fat and their speed and stuff like that, strength. So it's definitely a cool piece of it, and I think we're pretty lucky with the program we have over there and getting to use that facility and having Riv and the rest of their trainers over there and Brendan on the PT side of things to be able to make sure that our players are feeling good when it comes game time.
Is the improvement already evident on the ice?
Yeah, I think it's kind of night and day different from the start of last year. I think we're a lot sharper. I just think back to the first day this year to the first day last year. It was sloppy. We couldn't make tape passes last year. We had to change up some drills just because we weren't able to do them. And this year we had none of that. Guys were pretty sharp right off the hop, and we're ready to compete and move their feet and work. And like I've said before and say it again, everyone's trying to earn a roster spot right now. So it's been cool to see for sure.
Is it difficult at all to not get too close to the guys when you know that some of them aren't going to be here in a week?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always a fine line between that, right? Between being their friend and obviously being a coach. I mean, you know me pretty well now. We've been together for a year now, and I'm a pretty light guy. I like to have fun. I like to joke around and stuff like that. But there's also a time where the switch gets flipped, and it's time to be serious. And if that comes in a teaching moment on the ice or whatever it may be, I think there's just that fine line where you obviously. I like having the relationships with the players where we can obviously, if they got something going on at home or in their personal life, they can always come talk to me, and I've always made that known to them. But at the same time, when we're in practice and we're working on something, there's a time to cut that stuff out and focus and be serious. So I think there's always that fine line. I'm a player's coach. I like to interact with them and see how their life's going outside of the rink too. I think that's a big important piece too. I think life outside of the rink has a big part to do with the on-ice success. So if something's not going right at home or in the billets or something like that in their personal life, we always like to be aware of it, so we can either help them in some way, or if it's not us personally helping, we can do whatever we can to fix that, so each player can be comfortable and when they show up at the rink every day, perform at their highest.
16 miles today.
Yes.
In 95-degree heat.
We got out there a little before the heat. We started at 7, so we beat the heat a little bit, and it was actually really nice this morning. And the temperature changes from the morning to midday afternoon is pretty drastic. So it was actually a pretty nice morning out this morning. So if I would have had to do that right now, it probably wouldn't have gone so well.
Is Layne right about your skin crystallizing a little bit at the end?
Yeah, I didn't even realize it. I felt actually pretty good today. Last week was not so good, but this week was a lot better, and I thought it went well today. And I got in the car after we were done, and he looked at my arm, and yeah, you could start to see it, but felt good. I sweat a lot. I sweat thinking about sweating. Me probably talking about sweating right now, I'm probably gonna start sweating, but yeah, so I sweat a lot, and so obviously gotta keep the fluids up.
What do you think it'll take to get notorious hater of running Patrick Johnson out for a run with you?
I don't think it'll take much. Patty's hungry for just about any challenge. So if you address it or bring it up to him in a way, maybe say I don't think you can do it, just to pick at him a little bit. The fire inside him gets lit up and he'll do it. He's a warrior and he's competitive. So and he was actually one of the fastest guys in our 2-mile run test we did last year. So. Just because he's short and stocky, the kid can still move pretty quick. I don't know about a long distance one, but again, that long distance run isn't really effective for a hockey player, and that's why Layne and I are doing it. We're just trying to stay in shape, so we can move a little quicker on the ice during practice.
Only for that reason?
Yeah, I mean, you want your clothes to fit. You don't want to have to wear an XL or a double XL T-shirt. You want to be able to keep the same suits you have. You don't want to have to buy those every couple months when your belly starts to get a little bigger. So yeah, it's just to feel good and I guess be more in shape for life.
Evan Hunter and Landon Fleming coming up on the Coach's Show. 2 guys who are coming into your system with 18 years of age, so 3 years left of juniors, and already a full USHL year. What's that like?
I think it shows, especially when you have kids that come from midgets or high school around the same age but haven't played at the junior level. It shows. When the kids have some junior experience, and obviously those 2 haven't played in the USHL, the highest level of junior hockey. It shows they know how things work. They know the pace and the commitment level and the speed of the game and how to play the game the right way. So definitely 2 additions we're really fortunate to have this year.
All right, Hunter Laslo, thanks so much.
Thanks, Corey.
All right, the players coming up in a moment. This is the Bobcat Coaches Show on Super Talk 1270. All right, back on the Bobcat Coaches Show. We've got players coming up. 2 new ones you haven't heard from yet. Evan Hunter joins us on the Coaches Show.
How's it going?
Oh, doing well. How are you?
Good. I'm doing good.
Good. This is you're all smiles here. This is your first Coaches Show ever.
Yeah, it's my first one ever. It's a pleasure to be on here, and I'm excited.
You're telling me back in the USHL with the Steel there were no Coaches Shows?
No coaches shows. No, nothing.
I hear their announcer's kind of a goofball.
Yeah, he is a goofball. I love him, but he was crazy. He had all the nicknames for everybody. I wasn't fortunate enough to get one, but
That's too bad.
yeah, but it was a fun time, and he was a great guy, so.
Well, he did animal noises on the broadcast, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. They were awesome. They little crazy, but if you're up for it, you appreciate it. It was interesting.
Well, we have animal nicknames here, but not the actual noises. We're not going that far here in Bismarck. we keep things professional here.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, hopefully I can get a nickname here. So.
I don't decide them. It's the guys who decide them.
Oh,
Not me.
really?
Not me.
Okay. Well, I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, you got to convince Patty and Nico to give you an animal nickname.
All right, I'll do my best.
All right. Is Elite Prospects right? They've got you, 5'7", 120?
No,
That can't be right.
that's not right at all. It's kind of embarrassing whenever somebody checks, but nothing I can do.
Well, you got the Bobcats to take you in the second round despite being on EP at 5'7", 120. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know what to say to that. I guess they just saw something else. Maybe they checked me out and noticed I wasn't that small.
I'd hope so.
But yeah, I hope so too.
So what's your initial impression of Bismarck?
I love it a lot so far. It's like similar size to my hometown, Appleton, Wisconsin, so I'm enjoying it a lot. I mean, a lot of people see Bismarck, North Dakota as like a spot with nothing to do, and I've been surprised that there's like more than you'd think. So
What have
It's
been
been
some
good.
of your favorite spots to go to?
So far we visited, I'm blanking on the name, but it was a little diner. Shaky
Kroll's
Monday.
Diner, that
Kroll's
one?
Diner,
Yeah.
Shaky Monday.
There you go.
That was sweet, and I think we're going to check out Space Aliens, hit up the arcade soon.
Yeah, there you go.
Hmm.
Just seems like there's a lot here to do, but surprisingly, of course, I'm not a Bismarck guy either. So,
Yeah.
so coming from the USHL, getting a full year in at age 17, by the way, you're playing with guys like Jackson Blake, and you're 17 years old on the Chicago Steel. What's it like getting a full year under your belt before coming here?
It was unbelievable there. The stuff they did, like development-wise, I wouldn't trade it for anything because I learned so much. But I'm just excited to get the chance to play here and take advantage of that.
What do you learn from a year in the USHL?
I learned a ton. I just kind of sat and watched all those top guys there do their thing, and I think I've been able to put a lot of their stuff into my game, and I've just learned that you got to be patient and put in the work, and good things will happen. So
you weren't really upset at all that you come there to the top level and you're not playing much?
I'm sure it was upsetting at the time, and still looking back, it was frustrating, but you got to look at it through a positive lens, and I just kind of look at how much I learned that year, and I look at it as a good thing. So I'm just looking forward to this year now and not looking in the past too much.
So what were some of the selling points after you got picked here that, Nico and Layne and Hunter sold you on coming here?
They just kind of showed me, like, I kind of got a feel of how the atmosphere is and heard about the great fans and what they do as far as development here too. It didn't hurt that one of my best friends from my childhood, Ian Angle's coming here too. So it was just a good combination of things, and I just liked the sound of it.
Yeah, you and Ian Angle are becoming best of buds here back in Bismarck again.
Yeah. I didn't know if I was ever going to play with them again, but after 4 years together, but it's great. We're living together, have an amazing billet family, so yeah, it's been a blast so far.
We've gone from 0 Wisconsin guys to 3 in the span of like 4 months with with Ian and you two, of course, on the show.
Uh-huh.
What's it like bringing Wisconsin back to Bismarck here?
I don't know. I love it. We got some Packers fans here, so we're making some bets with the Minnesota guys on the Vikings, and it's it's a lot of fun. So it's good to have some other Wisconsin people here.
Are you and Minnesota like rival states?
I would say so, yeah, for sure. I mean, with the Packers and the Vikings being the main thing, but also like when you're younger, we're playing Minnesota teams and you hate them. So that's kind of how it started.
So the hockey scene in Wisconsin, obviously not what Minnesota is or Michigan is, but plenty of guys come from there. Are you guys more tight-knit because there aren't too many guys coming out of Wisconsin?
Yeah, I would say so. I think there's more guys coming out of there than you'd think, just undercover names. But yeah, if you look into it, there's more than you'd think, and I've been good friends with a lot of them for a long time. So it does make it more special when you're with the guys that you were playing with growing up or playing against.
You ever play with Landon Fleming over here?
Yeah, we played a couple of spring tournaments together back in the day, but not too much. We were more rivals. Played against him a lot, so that's more of how I know him.
All right, well, 4 scrimmages coming up. 2 scrimmages, 2 preseason games in the next week and a half. How excited are you for that?
I'm pumped. It'll be good to get a more of a game feel in. We've been skating for a week now, so get the legs going in a real game and kind of get more of a game feel. It's been a while, so that's what preseason's for. So I'm excited for it.
All right, Evan Hunter, thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, Landon Fleming coming up to wrap up the Coaches Show in a moment. All right, back on the Bobcat Coaches Show, wrapping things up here with Landon Fleming, Bobcat defenseman, first year with the team. How's it going?
Doing well. Everything's going good. Practices are going well, and yeah, I can't complain too much.
All right, so you and Evan Hunter here on the Coaches Show, 2 USHL guys last year. You with Madison and Evan with Chicago. 2 Wisconsin guys,
Yep.
both coming to Bismarck. You guys knew each other a little bit growing up and playing against each other. What's
Yep.
it like being back with him here?
It's really special. Like, obviously I knew him my whole life, and just having a familiar face here is super nice. And it's easy to, anytime you need to talk to someone, it's easy to talk to someone that you already know pretty well. So it's nice coming here with a familiar face, and yeah, I enjoy it so far. So
You are from Oregon, Wisconsin,
yep,
right outside of Madison.
yep.
So do you tell people you're from Madison or you're from Oregon, and you have to explain it further?
Most of the time I just say Madison. Some people say Oregon, and they instantly assume it's the state, but I got to explain to them that it's a small town in Wisconsin. So, but most of the time I would say Madison.
I looked up Oregon, and it said it's one of the best small towns to live in America. Is that true?
I don't know. I don't know if I can believe that, but no, it's a good town. I can't complain. I love it there. Got a lot of friends there. Family's close by, and Madison's only 15 minutes away. So, there's a lot to do. I love it there.
So when you were in Madison for USHL hockey, did you live at home?
I did, yeah. I lived with my parents, and we had 2 other roommates, which was nice. And my parents, were pretty chill, pretty cool with everything. And they let us do, whatever we wanted for the most part. So, yeah, it was really nice.
So you guys were a billet house then?
Yeah, yep, billet house. 2 other kids. Actually, one of the kids is from Grand Forks, Grand Forks, North Dakota, Trey Osmus. So, yeah. So he told me a little bit about Fargo and what it's like, and been listening to him quite a bit. So, yeah.
Are they still billets this year?
No. My parents wanted to get out, see my sisters, who's going to be playing in Minnesota for the Whitecaps. So they really wouldn't have time for that. So they said no this year.
Are they going to have to split time? Do you go to Minnesota? Do you go to Bismarck? How's that going to work?
Yeah, I think most of the time they're going to go to Minnesota just because it's a little bit closer from Madison. But they're occasionally going to make the trips out here, and maybe 2-3 times. So I'm really looking forward to that.
What are your first impressions of Bismarck?
I love it so far. It's got everything you need. It's nothing like special, but I love it. You'll walk around town, and people will recognize you with wearing the Bobcats shirt or whatever. And everyone's really cool here. All super friendly people. So. So far I can't complain. I love it.
How'd you end up here?
I had can't remember his name off the top of my head, but one of the scouts reached out to me, and I did some research on the team and what it was like here, and just seeing the guys Layne has moved on to the next level, really caught my eye. So I instantly said yes to come in here, and yeah.
What's the overall hockey scene like in Wisconsin?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, what's the overall hockey scene like growing up in Wisconsin?
It's good hockey. Like, you have, you can, at least for me, my dad always had hockey camps going on, and I was skating pretty much every day just because he always had camps going on, and he always had ice, and the people where I lived that owned the rink would always give me free ice, so that was super nice. And obviously, you're playing, and then the competition is super good with, Evan playing for the Green Bay Gamblers, and then, you got guys like Quinn Finley playing there. So it's awesome. It's good. Yeah.
What's it like coming here when you already have 1 full year of USHL experience?
I'm just hoping I can contribute a little bit based off, last year, and the run we had, and what got us that far. So I'm just hoping to help the team win, and just help out the younger guys. You know, when times are going tough, just give them some advice, and because I've been through it, like I've been through that. So just be a good teammate, and yeah.
What did you learn last year?
Just all sorts of things. You know, you got guys like you know, Luke Middlestat, Ben Dexheimer. You know, guys that have been through the, you know, the junior process, that are a lot, you know, that are a couple of years older than you, so that they get it, they understand, they tell you all these things. You know, they teach you new moves. They just tell you what it's like, you know, playing junior hockey, and you know, the struggles with it, the grind that it is. And you know, you just got to keep going, you know, regardless of what's happening. And so those are some of the things, you know, the older guys were telling me, guys that I really looked up to. And yeah.
All right, you got 4 games coming up, preseason games, scrimmages, starting this weekend with Intersquad.
Yep.
How excited are you for that?
I'm really excited. I'm excited to you know, get out on the ice and you know, start playing some real games. You know, we've been practicing a lot, so you know, I'm just ready to get at it, play some more meaningful games. And yeah, I'm super excited to get started.
You've been on Rink 2 for this whole week and a half or so.
Yeah.
Rink 1 is just about ready to go. Are you ready to skate on Rink 1 now, the big stage?
Oh yeah, no, I've been looking forward to that all week. You know, just inside the locker room, we've been talking about that. Can't wait until that ice is ready. So, no, I'm really excited for that. Today we got to skate on it for a little bit, just get a feel for it, and you know, I love it. Yeah, good ice too, so I can't complain. I love it so far.
All right,
I'm looking
Landon
forward to
Fleming,
it.
not bad for a first coaches show. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, that's all for the Bobcat Coaches Show. Don't forget, scrimmage against the Aberdeen Wings on Tuesday at the Wachter Ice Rink. An afternoon start time. We'll get the full details coming up. It'll be free to the public. Then the Warren Watford City against the Minot Minotauros Friday and Saturday, September 9th and 10th. Go to our Facebook page for start times and broadcast info. All right, Bobcat Coaches Show resumes next Wednesday at 5 o'clock from the Tap-In Tavern in Bismarck. So long, and thanks for watching.